No, they are not two of the Chicago Seven, and this is not the Cook County Courthouse. This is the home of the Chicago Bears, Soldiers Field, which in the 7th week of the NFL season became the playground for the Bears and the Dallas Cowboys. It is apropos that the Bears frolic in a sandbox called Soldiers Field, for they've always been among the fiercest warriors in the game. It's also ironic that in 1971, the Bears are doing better than ever before without their superstar, Gale Sayers, who is injured. Led by the most bellicose Bear of them all, Dick Butkus, they have stayed in the thick of their division race with a perennially ferocious defense and by rallying around an ersatz offense that has had 3 quarterbacks, the latest of whom, Bobby Douglas, upset the Lions after rooming with Coach Jim Dooley all week. The Dallas Cowboys have quarterback problems too. Only Coach Tom Landry has decided to solve his in a unique way by rotating on every play Roger Staubach and Craig Morton, the NFC's top and 5th-ranked quarterbacks, in hopes of shaking the Cowboys out of an offensive slump. Interceptions and fumbles have been the main reason Coach Tom Landry had lost 2 of his first 6, and last Sunday against the Bears, he hoped to change all this. I'm Bob Delaney, and this is the NFL Game of the Week, the Chicago Bears versus the Dallas Cowboys. The opening of the game saw the Bears play to their form, not of this year, but of the last few, as they were completely stifled by the Cowboys' doomsday defense. Rotating quarterbacks at first did not seem to bother Dallas, as they too played to last year's form and rolled downfield on their first series. First Morton, then Staubach gave the ball to number 33, Dwayne Thomas. Actually, Staubach garnered most of the brownie points on this first series. He's the better runner of the two, and though not considered the better passer, he completed the Cowboys' first pass after 7 straight runs. Two Mortons and a Staubach later, it was Roger who also made the key play of the drive, a 26-yard strike to Lance Allworth to the 3. Morton then came in and handed off to Thomas, who apparently ended the drive with a fumble. But the decision was to the contrary. On a repeat of the play, watch Thomas clearly have possession when crossing the goal line. The touchdown put the Cowboys ahead on their first drive, 7-0. On the Bears' second series, Coach Dooley had Douglas throwing, and the strategy worked against the weaker part of the Dallas defense pass coverage. George Farmer, number 43, was on the end of this bullet and gained 41 yards. Farmer is a former basketball and football star at UCLA who now writes poetry about the game. From the Cowboys' 9, it was Douglas, however, who poetically put the Bears right back in the game with a rollout keeper for a touchdown. The score was tied at 7, as the Bears, who had previously beaten 2 of the NFL's best in the Vikings and Lions, seemed to have found a quarterback to light their fire. Number 87, Ed Obradovich, watched the following kickoff returned by the Cowboys to their own 25. Then it was time for the big bad Bear defense to try to contain the shuttling Dallas quarterback and their teammates. This, Mr. Crunch and company did as the Cowboys' second series was stopped cold. The Bears were adapting well to the multiple men in motion formations the Cowboys threw at them. while Morton was unable to connect with his receivers. So on fourth down, Ron Whitby, the NFC's leading punter, hung one high and deep to Ron Smith, the exciting return man acquired from the Rams, and he almost went all the way. Only Whitby's tackle saved a touchdown. Whitby's tackle did save 4 points, for the Bears were unable to get past Leroy Jordan for a first down. So on came schoolteacher Mac Percival, and he booted the Bears into a 10-7 lead. Dallas's third series went no better than their second. In fact, it went a lot worse. After Butkus and his playmates left their calling cards on Dwayne Thomas, Morton avoided a blitz, but overthrew his pass into the middle of the Bears' deep zone with Ron Smith, the receiver. Smith's return again set the Bears up in Cowboy territory on their 32 as the first quarter ended. But Chicago could not take it in. Douglas is said to throw a heavy ball, but this one looked like it floated in and out of the arms of Bill Tucker. Again, Mac Percival was called in, and this time he hit from 38 yards out to give the Bears a 13-7 lead. Aside from their first series, the Cowboys and their two-quarterback system had been ineffective. But on their fourth possession, they began to move again. Morton did the passing on this drive, here avoiding a safety blitz by Smith and hitting Bob Hayes to the Bears' 25. But here the drive stopped. Number 85, Willie Holman, George Seals, Ed Obradovich, rookie Tony McGee et al. Prevented any more big gainers by Thomas, while preventing Roger the Dodger from making a first down on a third down scramble. So on 4th and 4, Mike Clark came in to try and close the score, but he too was unsuccessful. The score remained 13-7 Bears. The rest of the half saw Douglas unable to move the Bears at all. He did manage to hit number 45, Dick Gordon, his premier receiver, but double coverage prevented any long gainers to last year's NFL leader. Most of the time, Douglas was pressured, harassed, and penned in by the Cowboys' front four, unable to clearly see his targets. Doomsday got a safety for its effort when a low snap on 4th down went through punter Bobby Joe Green's hands. With 2 minutes left, Dallas now trailed by 4 and would receive the ball. At least one fan in Chicago was happy about all this. A punt after a safety is interesting because it's like a practice kick without pressure from an on-rushing line. Bobby Joe Green boomed a 60-yarder without this pressure, but Cliff Harris took it back 23 and seemingly had Dallas in good position. However, a major penalty set them back to their 27. Morton played this entire series and with a minute left in the half was moving his team. But again, as it happened in their losses to the Saints and Redskins, dropped passes and major penalties slowed down the momentum Morton had gained on the drive, and whatever momentum he had, ground to a halt. The Cowboys went for 3 on the last play of the half, but Mike Clark was having a miserable day with his foot. The field goal from the 42 failed, and the Bears watched the first half clock run out, leading 13-9, sensing a chance for another upset over a major NFL power. At the start of the second half and trailing by only 4 points, Dallas discovered their tendency for error was still with them. Craig Morton's reaction to the dropped pass underlined the frustration felt by both Cowboy quarterbacks today as Tom Landry continued to alternate them. Morton's anguish seemed compounded as after each play, he had to walk stoically away from the action as Staubach took his place. The play that Jolly Roger brought in couldn't have been exactly what Tom Landry had in mind. Gary Lyle's interception gave Chicago the ball near midfield, and the Bears offense had an excellent chance to increase their 4-point margin. Another look at Staubach, and we can see he had time to pass, yet seemingly threw the ball directly to the Bears' safety. Lance Allworth was wiped out with 2 blocks, and Lyle broke 2 tackles in open field before going out of bounds. Lyle, a 4-year veteran from George Washington, was starting today only because regular free safety rookie Jerry Moore has a leg injury. The defense had again given Bobby Douglas good field position, and he quickly improved upon it by finding George Farmer slanting across the middle to the 30-yard line. It was the second big catch of the game for the poet from UCLA. Can't you just imagine Farmer reading poetry to Dick Butkus? After Don Schei made a short run, Douglas threw again, and this play, more than any other, symbolized this ball game. On the double turnover, the Bears had the ball back at almost the identical spot with a first down to go with it. Don Schei seemed to be tackled at the line, then recovered for a good gain. Schei was Chicago's workhorse today with 23 carries and 62 yards. And with Gale Sayers back on the injured list, Schei is now their premier runner. Douglas soon lost all the yardage Schei had gained, however. The Bear quarterback lost 8 yards and his helmet to the Cowboy defense. And on third down, Schei was simply swarmed by Cowboys. Mac Percival was sent in to try from the 35. His success brought the score to 16 for Chicago, 9 for Dallas. Now Dallas trailed by a touchdown, and Morton went to Lance Allworth on the next series. The usually sure-handed Allworth had 5 catches today. This wasn't one of them. After Morton had thrown his specialty, a dropped pass, Staubach replaced him with his. Rogers' rollout produced a first down and kept the Cowboys moving. Morton finally had some help on the next play. Margene Adkins kept both feet in bounds, and Dallas was at the enemy 40. Adkins replaced Bob Hayes, who was through for the day with a pulled muscle. Staubach's turn, and he went to Allworth at the same sideline and in front of the same cornerback, Bob Jeter. Dallas had a first down at the Bears 24. But after a run had gone nowhere, Staubach returned to be trapped for a loss by George Seals and Ed Obradovich. 3rd and 8. Morton's turn, and his pass was almost intercepted by Dick Butkus. Butkus hasn't missed many this year. He's among the leaders in the league with 4 stolen passes. The score remained the same, however, as Mike Clark missed his 3rd field goal try from short range as the quarter came to an end. As the final period began, Douglas gave Dallas another chance to make up their 7-point deficit. George Andre's recovery gave Dallas a great gift on the Bears' 8-yard line. But as they'd been all day long, the Chicago defense was equal to the challenge. 2 straight runs by Dwayne Thomas got absolutely nowhere. And on 3rd down, when Morton found Garrison with a pass to the right flat, linebacker Doug Buffone made a great tackle to save a sure 6 points. Dallas again had to go for a field goal, and this time Mike Clark came through. The margin was narrowed to 4. The Soldier Field crowd of over 43,000 had seen great defense from their team all day. And now as Dallas kicked off midway through the final quarter, the offense picked up the pace. Ron Smith returned the kick to the Chicago 37. Then Douglas, showing great concentration on his target, found Dick Gordon, who had badly beaten his man. If Douglas's pass hadn't caused Gordon to leave his feet, the leading pass receiver in the NFC would have gone all the way. On the next play, leaving Mel Renfro trailing in his wake, Gordon did go all the way. The Bears had seemingly put a close game out of reach of their opponents. The Bears found it easier to get 6 points than 1, but Bobby Douglas turned his own fumble into the point that zoomed the score to 23-12. Now trailing by 11 points, Dallas had to put the ball in the air, so Landry abandoned his game plan and stayed with Craig Morton. It looked like good yardage on the screen, but Dwayne Thomas coughed up the ball. The happy young man who recovered the fumble is rookie cornerback Charlie Ford. Ford, who has had a fine first season, is just one of the 13 NFL players that grew up in the small town of Beaumont, Texas. Ford's recovery had given his team another chance to further increase their lead this time from the Dallas 20. But Chicago couldn't take advantage, and Mac Percival missed a field goal. Dallas had the ball again. The result was the same. A turnover for Dallas, a big play by Charlie Ford, and good field position for Chicago. Again, they blew it. Now the script changed. Dallas took over after a punt. With less than 4 minutes to go, Dallas moved the ball. Walt Garrison weaved his way for 20 yards. Then Morton, rolling out to his right, hit wide receiver Gloucester Richardson, who had beaten Charlie Ford. With striking suddenness, Dallas had narrowed the gap to 4 points. It was a new ball game. With just 2 minutes left in the game, it was left to the Bears offense to control the ball. They were unable to do it and had to punt with plenty of time left for Dallas to win. But unbelievably, Dallas did it again. Cliff Harris was hit hard by Cecil Turner, and Dallas had lost the ball by fumbling for the 3rd time. The Cowboys were mad, the fans were glad. But once again, the Dallas defense held. They forced a punt into the end zone, and with just 52 seconds showing, the Cowboys offense came on for their final try. Craig Morton passed to Dan Reeves, who stepped out of bounds. First down on the Cowboy 31, as Chicago coach Jim Dooley and his assistant Abe Gibran watched. Morton again went to the sure-handed Reeves, this time to the opposite side. Another first down. Six seconds left in the game. 6 seconds between victory or defeat. Time for one more play. It was all over. Fittingly, the Bears ended it with an interception, their 4th of the day. The 7 turnovers for Dallas had been the deciding factor in today's thriller. It was a great victory for the Bears, for it enabled them to stay in 2nd place, only 1 game behind the Vikings. For Dallas, the loss was particularly stinging because they again fell 2 full games behind the first-place Redskins in their division. Today's game was really the story of 2 coaches with quarterback problems. The problems are of a different nature, and the solutions were directly opposite. In one case, a coach's confidence in a young man appears to have paid off. In the other, indecision has divided responsibility and compounded the problem even further. Today's game was a fitting showcase for both methods.